Kim Dae-hyun stood before the grand chamber of the Galaxy Council. Thousands of alien eyes glowed in the dim light as the human ambassador adjusted his collar and took a deep breath. The chamber was enormous, built on the planet Valtor, the capital of the Galactic Union. The ceiling shimmered like a starfield, and the voices of hundreds of species echoed softly through the hall. For the first time in history, a human had come to plead before them. He began to speak in a calm tone. "Members of the Council, I come here on behalf of Earth and her colonies. Our settlements in the Perseus Rim are under attack. Entire families have been lost. We request aid, or at least support and defense." His voice was steady, but his hands were tight at his sides. The response was silence at first, then soft laughter began to ripple through the chamber. The delegate from the Thrix Empire, a tall creature with silver scales, smirked. "Humans? The little world that only joined the Union last decade? You come here asking for protection?" Another alien, a wide creature from the Varix coalition, waved one of its arms lazily. "You humans cannot even manage your own planet without fighting. Why should the galaxy risk its fleets for your weak settlements?" The laughter grew louder. Kim Dae-hyun's face tightened. He stood straight, but his chest burned with humiliation. Behind him, the holographic projection of Earth shone, showing a blue and white world so small in this vast hall. To them, it was just another young planet, another civilization not worth notice. From the back rows, one quiet voice spoke. It was Counselor Narai, a soft-spoken representative from a small, peaceful race. "The humans are new, yes, but they have shown courage in their short time among us. We should not dismiss their plea so quickly." Her words were ignored. The laughter continued, some delegates muttering insults in their languages. Dae-hyun lowered his head for a moment. He remembered the images of burned colonies, families crying over lost loved ones, and the message from President Han Soo-jin telling him, "If they do not help us, we will help ourselves." He raised his head again. "So this is the council that calls itself united," he said quietly, his voice echoing in the hall. The laughter stopped. "We asked for peace, for aid, for help against murderers. You mock us instead. Remember this moment." He turned and walked away, the sound of his boots heavy against the shining floor. Outside the chamber, his assistant, Lee Han-yul, waited nervously. "Did they listen?" she asked. He gave a small, tired smile. They listened, but they did not hear. Back on Earth, President Han Soo-jin sat in the command center of the United Earth government. Her eyes were tired but determined. Around her, holograms of fleet commanders flickered. Admiral Park Kyung-seok appeared, his uniform wrinkled, his face lined with years of service. "They refused again?" he asked. Dae-hyun's message had arrived minutes ago. Soo-jin nodded. "Yes, they laughed at us." She turned toward the star map showing the colonies that had been attacked. "The Threx Dominion won't stop. They think we are weak, but we'll show them that humans never give up." Park nodded slowly. "Then we fight alone." Within days, Earth was in motion. Factories began running around the clock. Old shipyards that had been silent since the Mars War reopened. Thousands of men and women volunteered to serve. Students left schools, miners left colonies, engineers slept in their workshops. The air was filled with the sound of hammers, engines, and determination. Lee Han-yul stood in one of the shipyards on Luna Base, watching the first hull of the new battleship being built. She ran her hand along the metal and whispered, "Daedalus." The name came from old Earth myth, a man who built wings to escape his prison. She thought it fit perfectly. The humans would build their own wings now. Admiral Park visited the site soon after. "How many ships can we have ready within 6 months?" he asked the engineers. "Not enough," one replied honestly. "But we'll give you everything we have." Park gave a short nod. "That's all I need to hear." On the other side of the solar system, Kim Dae-hyun returned home. He looked up at the night sky from his small apartment in Seoul, thinking about the stars that had laughed at him. His sister, Kim Yura, brought him a cup of tea and sat beside him. "You did what you could," she said softly. He looked at her and shook his head. "Not yet. They will see what humanity can do. They think we are nothing. But they forget one thing we learned fast. In the months that followed, Earth united in a way it hadn't in centuries. Old rivalries were forgotten. Nations that once competed now shared technology, weapons, and resources. The people didn't fight for money or power. They fought for survival and pride. The message spread across the colonies and stations. We stand alone. We stand together. It became a call that reached every corner of human space. Miners on the moons of Jupiter, scientists on Titan, farmers in the Martian valleys, all joined in one voice. They were no longer waiting for help. Lee Hanul's ship, the Daedalus, was the first to be completed. It was not the biggest or most advanced vessel, but it was strong and it was human. As it launched, thousands gathered across Earth to watch. Children waved flags and old veterans saluted. The engines burned bright, cutting through the blackness of space like a symbol of hope. Kim Dae-hyun stood beside Admiral Park in the control center as the ship disappeared into the stars. "This is only the beginning," Park said quietly. Dae-hyun nodded. "Yes, the galaxy will remember this day." Far away on the capital world of the Threx Dominion, a group of generals laughed as they watched intercepted broadcasts of human ships being built. "Look at them," one said. "They think they can fight us. They are ants building walls against the storm." But the storm was coming for them instead. Back on Earth, Han Soo-jin looked at the reports of new ships, new weapons, and new soldiers. "We asked for peace," she said softly to herself. "But if they want war, we will show them who we are." Kim Dae-hyun stood at her side, his eyes calm but burning inside. "The council may have mocked us," he said, "but they will not laugh for long." In that moment, under the silent stars of Earth, humanity's future changed. They were no longer just another young species in the galaxy. They were something more, united, proud, and unbroken. And in the vast halls of the Galaxy Council, whispers began to spread. Some began to wonder if perhaps they had made a mistake mocking the humans. For soon the humans would rise and the galaxy would learn that Earth never bows to those who laugh at its pain. President Han Soo-jin paced back and forth in the command center, her eyes on the massive star map that stretched across the wall. The Threx Dominion's forces were regrouping, their attacks on human colonies relentless. Every report brought news of destroyed outposts, burned cities, and frightened colonists. But despite the losses, the human people refused to panic. They were determined to fight. Admiral Park Kyung-seok stood by her side, his arms crossed and a serious expression on his face. "Our fleets are not ready for a full-scale war yet," he said, his voice steady but concerned. "We need more ships, more training, and time is not on our side." Han Soo-jin turned toward him, her eyes burning with resolve. "Time is what we will make. We have every resource on Earth, every citizen willing to fight. We may not have the galaxy behind us, but we have each other." The assembly of military and civilian leaders nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Across the globe, factories had been repurposed to produce warships and weapons. Engineers, scientists, and volunteers worked around the clock. Even ordinary citizens took part, building equipment, monitoring communications, and supporting the efforts with whatever skills they had. In Seoul, Kim Dae-hyun was coordinating diplomatic efforts, but he also spent time motivating Earth's people. He spoke over holographic transmissions to colonies on Mars, Titan, and Europa. "We are not alone because we stand together. We are humans and we will not bow to threats. The galaxy may have laughed at our plea, but we will make them see our strength." At the Luna shipyard, Lee Hanul inspected the assembly of new ships. The Daedalus had already proven its value during preliminary drills. Her crew was trained and ready, but she knew the real test would come soon. "These ships may be small compared to Threx vessels," she said to her officers, "but what we lack in size we make up for in courage and strategy. Every human here believes in what we do. That will make the difference." Engineer Kim Hyun-woo wiped sweat from his brow as he worked on the engines of a new class of fighter ships. "Will they really fight?" he asked his colleague, a young woman named Choi Min-ah. "They have to," she replied, tightening a bolt. "If we don't, no one else will. And if they think humans are weak, they will learn otherwise." Meanwhile, in the outer colonies, messages of hope traveled faster than the Threx attacks. Leaders like Park Ji-hoon and Lee So-ra organized militias and coordinated evacuation plans. But they also trained civilians to defend their homes. Children and the elderly helped where they could, carrying supplies, repairing equipment, or monitoring communications. Humanity was learning to fight as one, every citizen contributing to the effort. On Mars, a young pilot named Han Jae-won prepared for his first sortie. He checked the controls of his fighter, his hand shaking slightly. His instructor, Veteran pilot Kim Sung-tae gave him a firm nod. Courage isn't the absence of fear, he said. It's acting even when you are afraid. Remember that, and you'll survive this. As the weeks passed, Earth's fleets expanded and strengthened. New designs for ships allowed for speed and flexibility, something the larger Threx Armada could not match. Lee Han-yul and her team ran simulated battles against the most advanced Threx war tactics, learning to anticipate and counter them. Each drill, each exercise built confidence. The counselor Narai, observing the developments from afar, sent a private message to Dae-hyun. I warned them about you. Now they will see. Humanity's spirit is more powerful than any weapon I have seen in the galaxy. Dae-hyun replied, Thank you. Your faith means more than they will ever understand. Soon they will witness it themselves. In one of the command rooms, President Han Soo-jin convened a meeting with key officers. The Threx think they can intimidate us, she said, pointing at a holographic map of the outer colonies. We will show them that humans do not bow. Every colony we protect, every ship we launch, every life we save strengthens our resolve. We fight not because we want war, but because we refuse to be afraid. Admiral Park stepped forward, his voice steady. Our first coordinated strike will be near the Perseus Rim. Intelligence shows Threx supply lines are weak there. If we hit them swiftly and with precision, we can delay their reinforcements and give our colonies a chance to recover. Lee Han-yul studied the star charts, her fingers tracing the paths of potential attacks. We must use hit-and-run tactics. Our ships are fast and the Threx rely on predictable patterns. We will outthink them, outmaneuver them, and when they underestimate us, that is when we strike. The days turned into weeks. Human fleets began patrolling the outer systems, escorting colonies and setting up defensive perimeters. Each engagement, though minor at first, taught valuable lessons. Every victory, no matter how small, boosted morale. Citizens back on Earth watched the news feeds and cheered for every pilot and soldier who risked their lives. Kim Dae-hyun stood before another holographic assembly of young cadets, volunteers who had never seen real combat. The galaxy may still see us as weak, he told them, but strength is not measured only by size or firepower. Courage, unity, and determination can move mountains. Today we prepare, tomorrow we show them who we are. Lee Han-yul and her crew carried out repeated drills, perfecting evasive maneuvers and coordinated attacks. She knew that fear could never dominate them if every human trusted in each other. We are not just machines and weapons, she reminded her team. We are humans. That is our greatest strength. In the colonies, families worked together, building barricades and repairing ships. Engineers like Kim Hyun-woo and Choi Min-ah developed innovative designs to enhance shield systems and propulsion. Each advancement was shared across Earth's networks, improving the efficiency of every fleet. Amidst all the preparations, President Han Soo-jin visited frontline command stations, speaking to soldiers and civilians alike. Her calm presence inspired confidence. We may be young in the galaxy, she said to a group of officers, but we are not powerless. Today we prepare. Tomorrow, the galaxy will remember our courage. Kim Dae-hyun, watching the same events unfold from the diplomatic center, felt a sense of pride swell inside him. Humans were learning quickly. They were no longer the species that begged for help. They were becoming a force to be reckoned with. Far across the stars, the Threx Dominion monitored these activities. They laughed at first, dismissing Earth's efforts as minor, but as reports of human coordination, new ship designs and defensive measures reached their command, unease began to creep in. Their analysts had underestimated the humans. They had not counted on creativity, determination, or unity. Back on Earth, the message was simple and clear. Humanity would no longer wait for the galaxy's permission. They would protect their own, fight for their own, and rise to meet every challenge. Every citizen, soldier, and leader was part of a larger plan, a single goal united under one purpose. The humiliation from the Council and the ridicule from alien races were now fuel for determination. The fleets, young pilots, and engineers continued their preparations. The Daedalus and its accompanying squadron became symbols of hope, representing the will of a species unwilling to submit. Every day brought new lessons, new victories, and the strengthening of a spirit that would soon shock the galaxy. And in the silence of the night, under the stars that once seemed so vast and indifferent, humans whispered to themselves, a promise growing stronger with each passing moment. We stand together. We fight together. We will not be defeated. The first encounter with the Threx Dominion came sooner than expected. Lee Hanul stood on the bridge of the Daedalus, her eyes scanning the vast emptiness of space. The sensors had detected a Threx fleet moving toward the Perseus Rim. They were, confident as always, expecting an easy victory over humans. Hanul's jaw tightened. "They have underestimated us," she said to her officers, "and that is their first mistake." The Daedalus led a small fleet of human ships. They were not as large or numerous as the Threx Armada, but they were fast and maneuverable. Every pilot knew their role, every captain knew the plan. Hanul's orders were simple: strike, evade, and protect the colonies. The human ships moved in tight formations, their engines blazing through the void like streaks of light. As they approached the Threx fleet, a transmission came through. The Threx commander's voice was cold and mocking. "Humans, surrender now, you cannot hope to survive." Hanul ignored the taunt. She had no intention of surrendering. "All units prepare for engagement," she commanded. "Remember your training. Remember who we are." The first shots were fired. Human fighters darted around the larger Threx ships, dodging energy beams with precise maneuvers. Lee Hanul's Daedalus fired its cannons, targeting supply vessels and small destroyers. The Threx were powerful, but their size made them less agile. The humans used their speed to strike quickly and retreat before the enemy could respond. Kim Dae-hyun watched the battle from Earth's command center. Every report he received brought both pride and concern. The human pilots fought with courage, using innovative tactics that had never been seen by the Threx. They attacked in unexpected ways, coordinated their strikes, and avoided direct confrontation when necessary. They were learning fast. The first exchange was costly. Several human ships were lost, and messages of mourning traveled quickly through the fleets. But every loss became a lesson. Every engagement made the humans stronger. Civilians and soldiers alike were inspired by the bravery of those fighting in space. The people of Earth and the colonies stood together, supporting their defenders with resources, repairs, and unwavering faith. During a pause in the battle, Hanul received a transmission from a nearby colony. Families were trapped in a mining settlement, surrounded by Threx forces. Hanul made a swift decision. "We are going in," she told her officers. "We cannot leave them behind." The Daedalus led the charge, human fighters covering the retreat of civilians. Energy beams cut through the darkness, and explosions lit up space as the Threx tried to intercept. But human coordination was precise. Ships worked together, guiding the civilians safely to orbiting transports. For every loss, there was a rescue. For every threat, a counter. On Earth, President Han Soo-jin addressed the public. "Our pilots and soldiers are defending our people. They are facing an empire that thought we were weak. But we are not weak. We are strong, because we stand together. Support them, believe in them, and trust in humanity." Kim Dae-hyun received another message from Counselor Narai. "I told them to respect humans, but they did not listen. Watch closely. The humans fight not only with ships and weapons, but with willpower." Hanul's fleet engaged the Threx multiple times, striking and retreating, learning from each encounter. The Threx were frustrated by the unpredictability of their enemy. They had faced powerful species before, but none fought with the kind of courage and creativity that humans displayed. Every time the Threx adjusted their strategy, humans adapted, using the very lessons of past battles to gain advantage. In the midst of battle, Hanul's second-in-command, Captain Cho Min-gyu, reported a large enemy cruiser attempting to flank their formation. "If we don't stop it, the civilian transports will be in danger," he said urgently. Hanul made a decision in seconds. Target the cruiser. Use the ion disruptors to disable their engines. Split the squadron, half with me, half with Cho to cover the civilians. Precision, timing, and courage. The attack was successful. The cruiser was disabled, its energy core sparking as it drifted in space. The civilians were safe, and the Threx forces began to retreat in confusion. Hanul allowed herself a brief moment of relief, knowing that the victory was hard-won and temporary. On the communication channels, the Threx commander shouted, furious at the unexpected human resistance. "These humans fight like nothing I have ever seen. Increase our firepower. Destroy them." But the humans were ready. Each engagement, each skirmish had taught them more. Pilots like Han Jae-won, once nervous and inexperienced, now flew with confidence, coordinating attacks and protecting their comrades. Engineers like Kim Hyun-woo and Choi Min-ah had improved ship shields and weapon systems based on battle reports. Every human involved, from frontline soldiers to those on Earth, contributed to the defense. Dae-hyun and Han Soo-jin watched as reports continued to stream in. They saw bravery, loss, and triumph in equal measure. The humans had turned a desperate defense into a demonstration of determination and skill. The Threx Dominion, which had once seen humanity as an easy target, now faced an enemy that was learning faster than anticipated, striking smarter than expected, and fighting with unwavering resolve. Counselor Na-rai sent another message to Dae-hyun. "The galaxy is watching. They will remember today. Your people are extraordinary." Hanil's fleet continued to patrol the rim, striking at enemy supply lines, defending colonies, and rescuing civilians. Every successful mission increased morale. Humans began to see themselves not just as survivors but as fighters, united and capable of facing the largest threats in the galaxy. The Threx Dominion, for the first time, reconsidered its assumptions. They had expected humans to be weak, easily intimidated, and simple to defeat. Instead, they faced a species that could endure, adapt, and strike with both courage and strategy. Every attack met resistance. Every engagement ended with lessons learned by the humans. It was becoming clear that these humans were not to be underestimated. Back on Earth, President Han Soo-jin addressed the command center again. "We have proven that even alone, humanity can stand against great threats. Every battle teaches us more. Every victory, no matter how small, strengthens our people. The Threx may have power, but we have determination, creativity, and unity. That is a power no empire can ignore." As the battle continued across the stars, Kim Dae-hyun reflected on humanity's growth. The Council had mocked them, aliens had doubted them, and the Threx had expected an easy conquest. But through courage, coordination, and a refusal to surrender, humans had shown that they were a species to be reckoned with. They were learning fast, fighting fiercely, and growing stronger with every challenge. Lee Han-yul stood on the Daedalus Bridge looking out at the stars. "We have fought well," she said to her crew, "but this is only the beginning. The galaxy has seen our courage, but they have yet to see our full strength. Every pilot, every ship, every human counts. We fight not because we are fearless, but because we refuse to accept defeat." The humans continued to strike, defend, and protect, and in every corner of the galaxy whispers began to spread. The humans were not what they seemed. They were not weak. They were brave, determined, and rising fast. The Threx Dominion would soon learn that humanity was a force that could not be ignored, a species that fought not just with weapons, but with the indomitable will to survive and protect what they loved. The Galaxy Council could no longer ignore the events unfolding at the Perseus Rim. Reports of human resistance reached the capital world quickly, and what had started as minor skirmishes were now full-scale battles demonstrating strategy, coordination, and bravery unlike anything the Council had expected. Kim Dae-hyun received the urgent message while coordinating Earth's defense. He read it quietly, feeling both satisfaction and a growing sense of vindication. Counselor Na-rai, who had always believed in humanity, sent a private message. "They laughed at you. Now they watch. And some are starting to take notes. Humanity has changed the course of this conflict." Dae-hyun nodded, replying, "They will understand soon that humans do not beg. We fight." On the floor of the council, discussions were tense. Alien delegates whispered in worried tones. The laughter that once greeted humans' pleas had disappeared. Even the Varix coalition, who had mocked Earth repeatedly, now observed with cautious interest. Counselor Tyvar, a tall, sharp-eyed member from a warlike species, slammed his clawed hand on the table. The humans have disrupted Threx operations for months. Their speed, tactics, and coordination are unlike anything we expected. We must reconsider our previous judgment. An older, more diplomatic member, Lyra Vaughn, replied carefully. Perhaps it is time to acknowledge that the humans are a rising power. They are not just fighting for survival. They are proving themselves capable of strategic thought and leadership. Meanwhile, across human space, the battle continued. Lee Hanul's fleet was engaged in coordinated strikes, protecting colonies and countering Threx attacks. Every engagement taught new lessons. Humans were adapting faster than the enemy, and their courage inspired even the youngest pilots. Han Jae-won had become a skilled leader, guiding other fighters with precision and bravery. Every victory, every successful rescue operation, and every smart maneuver made Earth's forces stronger and more confident. On Earth, President Han Soo-jin reviewed reports with Admiral Park Kyung-seok. They underestimated us, she said. But every battle is proof that humanity can rise above challenges. Our people are no longer afraid. They understand that we do not beg. We stand. Kim Dae-hyun was called again to address the council, this time not as a petitioner but as a representative of a species that had proven its strength. The chamber, once filled with laughter, now held silence. Delegates watched as he stepped forward, calm and composed. Honorable members of the council, he began, I come before you not to ask, but to inform. Humanity has defended its colonies, repelled attacks, and adapted to challenges that many thought insurmountable. We asked for aid once and were laughed at. We did not receive help, yet we stand stronger today. A murmur ran through the council. Some delegates looked at one another in disbelief. Others shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Even the warlike Tyvar was silent, his sharp eyes fixed on Dae-hyun. The galaxy should know, Dae-hyun continued, that humans do not surrender. We do not beg. We do not negotiate with those who commit murder against the innocent. If you doubt our capabilities, look to the Perseus Rim, where human courage has turned the tide of war. Our ships, our pilots, and our people have demonstrated that willpower can overcome even the greatest threats. Counselor Narai stood and spoke, her voice calm but firm. I have warned you before about underestimating humans. Today they have proven what I said to be true. Their determination is unmatched. The Council should recognize their achievements and treat Earth as a force to respect. The room remained quiet, the delegates processing the reality that a species they had considered weak and insignificant had changed the dynamics of galactic politics and warfare in mere months. Whispers of admiration, fear, and disbelief spread. The laughter that had once greeted humans' pleas was replaced by tension and cautious respect. On Earth, the news of Dae-hyun's speech and the Council's reaction spread quickly. Civilians and soldiers alike felt pride. The people understood that humanity's fight had earned recognition, not through politics or alliances, but through courage, strategy, and the willingness to stand together against overwhelming odds. Lee Hanul's fleet returned from a successful engagement, the enemy forces retreating after several smartly coordinated strikes. Pilots cheered, crews repaired their ships, and the people of the colonies celebrated small victories. Every citizen, from engineers like Kim Hyun-woo and Choi Min-ah to the soldiers protecting the outer stations, felt the unity and strength of humanity. President Han Soo-jin addressed the people once more. The Council may have mocked us before, but the galaxy now watches. Every human who stands, every human who fights shows that our species is not to be dismissed. We have risen together, and we will continue to rise. Kim Dae-hyun returned to Earth, walking through the streets of Seoul and visiting colonies on Mars and Luna Base via holo transmissions. He saw people who had faced fear, loss, and uncertainty, yet continued to work for the greater good. He felt pride not just for their skill but for their spirit. They had taken the ridicule of the galaxy and transformed it into the energy to fight, survive, and win. Lee Hanul watched her pilots train, aware that every mission, every engagement, and every victory was preparing humanity for the next stage of conflict. They had proven themselves against the Threx, but they knew the galaxy still had challenges. They were no longer begging for recognition. They had earned it through courage and resilience. Counselor Na Rai sent one final message to Dae-hyun. The galaxy has learned a lesson it will not forget. Humans do not bend, do not beg, and do not yield. They stand, and when they stand, they inspire others. You have changed the way every species will think of humanity. Dae-hyun smiled, replying, It was not our words that changed them, but our actions. The council may now watch, but it is the will of our people that commands respect. The human fleets continued to patrol, defend, and strike where necessary. Every pilot, every ship, every colony contributed to the growing legend of humanity's resilience. The Threx Dominion, once certain of victory, now faced a species that had learned, adapted, and fought with unmatched courage. Back on Earth, as the sun set over cities and colonies across the solar system, civilians gathered in squares, on streets, and in communal halls to watch news feeds of the victories. Children waved flags, veterans saluted, and families celebrated survival. Humanity had stood alone, and in doing so had earned the respect of the galaxy. They were no longer the weak newcomers. They were a species to be reckoned with, united and determined. Kim Dae-hyun, standing at the command center overlooking the assembled fleets, thought quietly, "The council may have ridiculed us, but humanity has shown them that laughter can turn to silence, underestimation to respect. We did not ask for this recognition. We earned it, and we will not stop here." Lee Hanel prepared for the next patrol, her crew ready and confident. "We fight for our people, for our homes, and for our future. Every engagement teaches us more, strengthens us more. The galaxy has seen what humans are capable of, but they have yet to see the full measure of our strength." The humans had changed the perception of an entire galaxy. From humiliation to defiance, from pleading to standing tall, Earth had proven that courage, unity, and determination could overcome doubt and ridicule. The Council and the galaxy at large had learned a simple truth. Humans do not negotiate with murderers. Humans fight, and when they fight, they stand unyielding, unstoppable, and united. Months after the first attacks on Earth's colonies, the human fleets were stronger, smarter, and more united than ever. The Threx Dominion, once confident of victory, now faced a determined and growing resistance. Lee Hanel's Daedalus led a combined fleet of human ships, escorting colonies and launching counterattacks against Threx positions. Every engagement strengthened the humans' skills and morale. President Han Soo-jin monitored operations from Earth's command center. Reports arrived continuously, showing both losses and victories. Her face remained calm, but her mind worked constantly, planning and strategizing. Every success boosted the human spirit, while every setback taught new lessons. The people had learned to adapt quickly, to work together, and to never lose hope. Kim Dae-hyun prepared for another message to the Galaxy Council. This time he was not pleading or defending humanity. He was reporting a triumph. The Council had watched in silence as humans held the Perseus Rim, liberated captured colonies, and forced Threx retreats. The species they had mocked now commanded attention and respect. Lee Hanel coordinated a large-scale operation to strike at a Threx supply hub deep in enemy territory. "This is not a simple raid," she told her fleet. "We are sending a message. We are showing the galaxy what humans can do when we stand together. Precision, courage, and teamwork, those are our weapons." The fleet moved swiftly, navigating asteroid fields and avoiding enemy patrols. Every pilot knew their role. Every ship operated in harmony with the others. When the attack began, energy beams cut through space. Explosions lit the darkness, and humans executed maneuvers that the Threx had never anticipated. Supply ships were destroyed, enemy cruisers disabled, and captured colonies began receiving much-needed supplies and reinforcements. On Earth, citizens watched the transmissions, cheering and celebrating every success. Children waved flags, families hugged, and even older veterans shed tears of pride. Humanity's courage and unity had transformed fear into hope, despair into determination. The people realized that they were capable of shaping their destiny. Kim Dae-hyun stepped onto the floor of the Galaxy Council, projected via a secure hologram. The chamber was tense. Many delegates were quiet, their earlier mockery replaced by curiosity and concern. Dae-hyun spoke slowly and clearly. "Honorable members of the Council, the humans you once laughed at have defended themselves, liberated colonies, and shown that courage, unity, and determination can overcome even the greatest threats. We did not beg. We did not surrender. We acted, and we succeeded." Counselor Narai stood beside him in solidarity. "I warned you before. Humans are strong not only in technology, but in willpower and spirit. Today they prove it beyond doubt. The galaxy must recognize Earth as a full and equal member, worthy of respect and partnership." A murmur ran through the council. Delegates whispered and exchanged uneasy glances. Even the warlike Tyvar of the military council nodded slowly. The humans had proven that they could fight, strategize, and lead. Lyravon spoke cautiously. Perhaps we underestimated them. The humans are not simply survivors. They are warriors in their own right. Meanwhile, back in the Perseus Rim, Lee Hanel's fleet secured the captured supply hub. Her pilots cheered and she allowed herself a brief smile. "We did it," she said quietly, knowing that each victory brought them closer to full security for all colonies. The fleet returned safely, bringing resources and hope to those who had suffered. President Han Soo-jin addressed the human people, speaking live to every colony, city, and station. "We have faced a threat that many thought would overwhelm us. We have been ridiculed, dismissed, and doubted. But today we have proven that humanity stands strong, united, and unstoppable. The galaxy has seen our courage, our determination, and our will. We do not beg for aid, for we have learned to provide our own. We are humans, and we will always stand." The Threx Dominion, realizing their position had been severely weakened, sent envoys to negotiate a ceasefire. The humans had not only defended themselves, but they had turned the tide of the conflict, forcing the Threx to recognize Earth as a serious power. The Empire, once confident and mocking, now approached with caution and respect. Kim Dae-hyun returned to the council chamber, this time to witness recognition for humanity. The delegates formally acknowledged Earth's status as a full member of the Galactic Union, with equal rights and responsibilities. The laughter that once filled the chamber was gone. Instead, there was respect, some hesitant, some genuine, but all present. Councillor Narai smiled and whispered, "They finally see what I have always known." Hanul's fleet continued to patrol the outer systems, ensuring the safety of colonies and preparing for any future threats. Each human ship, each pilot, and every citizen contributed to the ongoing strength and security of humanity. The species had learned to stand alone, to fight together, and to rise above every challenge. On Earth, celebrations erupted, streets filled with people cheering, waving flags, and honoring those who had fought in space. The legacy of bravery, unity, and determination became a defining moment for humanity, remembered for generations to come. Kim Dae-hyun reflected quietly on the journey. From the day humans were laughed at in the council chamber to this moment of recognition and triumph, the people had grown stronger. They had learned that strength came not only from ships and weapons, but from courage, unity, and an unbreakable spirit. Lee Hanul stood on the bridge of the Daedalus, looking out at the stars. "We fought for our people, for our homes, for our future. The galaxy has learned a lesson. Humans do not negotiate with murderers. We fight, and when we stand together. We are strong. We are united. And we will always rise." The humans had become more than survivors or newcomers. They were now a species respected across the galaxy, their courage and determination forever changing the perception of Earth. They had faced ridicule, threats, and the might of an empire, and they had stood tall. The galaxy had learned a new truth. Humans are not to be underestimated, for when they rise as one.